Hello everyone! Today, we're diving into one of the most mysterious big cats in the world, the Marozi. This elusive creature has intrigued scientists and enthusiasts for decades. While no confirmed photographs of the Marozi exist, there are images of spotted lions, though it's unclear if they are truly Marozis. There's no DNA evidence to confirm its existence, but we do have a pair of alleged Marozi skins and numerous historical observations by locals and scientists. As a big cat lover, I find the Marozi to be one of the most fascinating and enigmatic members of the Panthera family. In this video, we'll explore its mystery. Is the Marozi simply a unique lion, or could it be something entirely different? And most importantly, could it still roam the wild today? Let's dive in. The Marozi, also known as the spotted lion, is a mysterious and elusive feline that has intrigued zoologists and cryptozoologists alike. Its classification remains a topic of debate, with various hypotheses suggesting that it may represent a distinct montane-adapted subspecies of lion, Panthera leo, a rare natural hybrid between a lion and a leopard, Panthera pardus, or a unique adult lion that retains its juvenile spotting patterns. The Marozi is believed to be smaller than the typical savanna lion, but larger than a leopard, exhibiting a build that suggests adaptations to a montane environment. Unlike male savanna lions, it reportedly lacks a distinguishable mane, even in adulthood. The most notable feature of the Marozi is its spotted coat, which sets it apart from other lions. While lion cubs are born with spots that typically fade as they mature, the Marozi retains these markings throughout its life, a trait that has led to speculation about its genetic and evolutionary origins. Sightings of the Marozi have been reported in montane regions of East Africa, particularly in Kenya's Aberdare Mountains and other highland areas. Local folklore and accounts from indigenous communities have long hinted at the existence of a spotted lion, distinct from the common savanna lion. In the 1930s, a pair of Marozi skins was reportedly discovered in Kenya, lending credence to the idea of their existence. These skins displayed a spotted pattern not typical of adult lions. Belgian cryptozoologist Dr. Bernard Heuvelmans, a pioneer in the study of cryptids, proposed the scientific name Panthera leomaculatus in 1955 to designate the Marozi as a potentially distinct form of lion. However, the animal's taxonomic status remains unconfirmed, and no live specimens have been studied. There are three primary theories regarding the Marozi's origins. A distinct subspecies. Some researchers suggest that the Marozi represents a distinct subspecies of lion adapted to montane environments. Its smaller size, lack of mane, and unique coat pattern could reflect evolutionary adaptations to its specific habitat, a lion-leopard hybrid. Another theory posits that the Marozi might be a natural hybrid between lions and leopards. While such hybrids are rare, the Marozi's intermediate size and spotted coat have fueled this speculation. There are documented sightings of lions mating with leopards in the wild, are extremely rare. But there are a few reports and anecdotes suggesting that such interactions can occur under exceptional circumstances. These instances are more often observed in captivity, where the two species are brought into close proximity. Kenya, Aberdare Mountains. Reports from Kenya's highlands, where lions and leopards share overlapping habitats, have suggested the possibility of hybridization. The presence of the Marozi, a lion-like animal with leopard-like spots, has fueled speculation about lion-leopard interactions. However, direct evidence of mating or confirmed hybrids in the wild remains elusive. Kruger National Park, South Africa. There have been unverified claims from safari guides and park rangers in South Africa about observing interactions between lions and leopards. While these interactions are usually aggressive due to territorial disputes, there are rare accounts of more neutral or curious behavior between the two species. Why mating is rare in the wild? Several factors make lion-leopard hybrids unlikely in natural settings. Lions are social animals that live in prides, while leopards are solitary. These differing social structures limit opportunities for interaction. Lions often dominate leopards in shared territories and may kill leopards rather than mate with them. Despite being part of the same genus, Panthera, behavioral, ecological, and reproductive barriers typically prevent interbreeding. Evidence from captivity. hybrids between lions and leopards, known as leopons, male leopard x female lion, or lipards, male lion x female leopard, have been successfully bred in captivity. Examples include India, 1930s. A famous case of leopons occurred at a zoo in India, where a male leopard and a lioness produced offspring. The hybrids exhibited a mix of features, including a lion-like body size and faint leopard spots. Germany, similar hybrid experiments were conducted in Europe, confirming the genetic compatibility of the two species under controlled conditions. A genetic mutation. A more conservative explanation is that the Marozi is a lion exhibiting a genetic anomaly that prevents the fading of juvenile spots. This condition, though rare, might occur sporadically within lion populations. Comparison with Panthera shawi. Panthera shawi, a species described from fossil remains, is thought to be one of the earliest members of the genus Panthera. It lived during the Pliocene epoch and provides valuable insights into the evolutionary history of large cats. While there is no direct link between Panthera shawi and the Marozi, the former's discovery highlights the diversity and complexity of the Panthera lineage, which may provide context for understanding anomalous felids like the Marozi. The Marozi is indeed often considered distinct from the typical lion, but it is not universally agreed upon whether it is a separate species or subspecies of lion. Some researchers, like Belgian cryptozoologist Dr. Bernard Heuvelmans, suggested that it might represent a primitive link or missing link between the lion, Panthera leo, and the jaguar, Panthera onca. But this remains a theory rather than a confirmed scientific fact. But let's explore this idea further. The Marozi's distinct characteristics, its spotted coat, intermediate size, and adaptation to montane environments, may suggest it occupies a unique evolutionary position within the Panthera lineage. This raises the possibility that it represents an ancient or transitional form, perhaps closer to a common ancestor shared by the lion and the jaguar. Here's why this theory holds some merit. Modern lions typically lose their juvenile spots as they mature, while leopards and jaguars retain their spotted coats into adulthood. The Marozi's spotted coat could represent an ancestral trait retained from an earlier stage of evolution before the lion developed its uniform golden coat. The Marozi's reported size, smaller than a lion but larger than a leopard, might align with the dimensions of a transitional species. Additionally, its montane adaptations suggest it may have diverged from the lineage of savanna-dwelling lions and retained traits suited to dense, forested or rugged habitats, akin to the jaguar. Genetic studies suggest that the Panthera genus evolved around 2–3 million years ago, likely in Asia, before spreading to other continents. Jaguars and lions share a common ancestor that existed approximately 2 million years ago. It is possible that the Marozi represents a lineage that diverged early, retaining traits of both the lion and the jaguar. Support for the hypothesis. Several aspects of the Marozi's characteristics lend credibility to its potential status as a living fossil or a relic species. The Marozi has been reported in East African montane regions, areas that may have served as refugia during periods of environmental change. These isolated habitats could have preserved a distinct evolutionary lineage. The spotted skins of Marozi specimens, along with their reported size and lack of a mane, provide morphological clues suggesting divergence from modern lions. Challenges to the hypothesis. There are no known fossils linking the Marozi to an ancient lineage between lions and jaguars. Without paleontological evidence, this idea remains speculative. If the Marozi is a distinct species or subspecies, genetic analysis of existing skins could confirm its divergence from modern lions. However, such studies have yet to provide conclusive results. The Marozi could be a local variation or subspecies of lion, a hybrid between a lion and a leopard, or even an isolated population of lions with unique genetic traits. Marozi as a potential missing link. A missing link in evolutionary terms refers to an organism that bridges the gap between two related species, representing a transitional form. For the Marozi to fit this description, it would need to show traits indicative of both lions and jaguars, while occupying a position closer to their common ancestor. Here's how this idea might hold merit. Genetic studies suggest that lions and jaguars diverged from a common ancestor roughly 2 million years ago. This ancestor likely exhibited traits found in both modern species, such as a partially spotted coat and a robust build. If the morosi retains traits from this common ancestor, it could represent a lineage that diverged from the lion's evolutionary path while retaining characteristics more akin to its shared heritage with jaguars. The morosi's spotted pattern may reflect an ancestral condition. Both jaguars and leopards retained their spots, while lions evolved a plain coat. The morosi's retained spots could indicate its evolutionary position closer to the jaguar-lion split. The morosi is described as smaller than a lion, but larger than a leopard, similar to the jaguar in terms of build. This intermediate size supports the idea of a transitional form. Jaguars are known for their adaptability to forested and rugged habitats, whereas lions are adapted to open savannas. The morosi's montane environment could reflect an evolutionary pathway closer to a shared jaguar-lion ancestor that thrived in more forested regions. The absence of a mane in the morosi aligns it with jaguars and other pantherine cats. The morosi's overall physical description fits a hypothetical form that could connect jaguars and lions. Challenges to the missing link hypothesis: no fossils of the morosi or a similar transitional form have been discovered, making it difficult to establish a direct evolutionary connection. Modern lion variation. The morosi may represent an unusual variation of modern lions, such as a subspecies or a population with unique traits. Genetic analysis of morosi specimens is necessary to rule this out. Without concrete genetic or paleontological evidence, the morosi as a missing link remains a speculative hypothesis. But the morosi could be an ancient subspecies of lion that retained traits from an earlier evolutionary stage, such as spots, rather than a link to jaguars. Hybridization with leopards, or it might represent a relict population of an extinct Panthera species with traits that overlap with lions and jaguars. Marozi as a primitive link between leopards and lions. A primitive link refers to an organism that shows traits of two modern species and reflects their shared evolutionary ancestry. If the Marozi were a primitive link between leopards, Panthera pardus, and lions, Panthera leo, it would likely display characteristics that resemble both species. Here's how this hypothesis might hold. Leopards have retained their spots as a key trait, while lions typically lose their juvenile spots as they mature. The Marozi's spotted coat could indicate that it retains an ancestral trait shared by both species. The Marozi is described as smaller than a lion, but larger than a leopard, which could fit the profile of a transitional or primitive form. Leopards are highly adaptable and inhabit forested and montane regions, while lions favor open savannas. The Marozi's adaptation to montane habitats might reflect traits inherited from a common ancestor of the two species. Evolutionary context. If the Marozi is a relic population of an ancestral species, it might represent a lineage that diverged from this common ancestor, but retained primitive characteristics. Marozi as a missing link between leopards and lions. A missing link refers to a transitional species that connects two modern species and fills a gap in their evolutionary history. The Marozi could be considered a missing link if it bridges the evolutionary gap between leopards and lions. Here's how. The Marozi's reported size and lack of a mane could suggest an intermediate form. Its spotted coat is also consistent with a transitional stage. Montane habitats, where the Marozi has been reported, are more typical of leopards than lions. This could indicate a shared ancestral behavior that persisted in the Marozi lineage. Challenges to this hypothesis. No fossil record. No fossils have been found to suggest a direct evolutionary link between leopards and lions through the Marozi. Genetic data needed. Without genetic analysis of Marozi specimens, it is difficult to establish its evolutionary relationship to modern lions or leopards. Unique pantherine species. The Marozi might represent a unique species within the Panthera genus that evolved independently, sharing traits with both lions and leopards due to convergent evolution or retained ancestral traits. Marozi as a unique or new Panthera species? If the morosi is neither a subspecies of lion, Panthera leo, nor a hybrid, for example lion-leopard, it could represent an entirely distinct species within the Panthera genus. This hypothesis relies on its unique characteristics and the possibility that it evolved separately from other known Panthera species. Key characteristics. Supporting a unique species hypothesis. The morosi's spotted pattern in adulthood is unlike modern lions, which lose their juvenile spots. This could indicate a divergence in evolutionary traits, pointing to a distinct lineage. Described as smaller than a lion but larger than a leopard, the morosi might occupy a size range that aligns with a unique evolutionary niche. Reports of morosi sightings in montane regions suggest it may have evolved to thrive in habitats different from the savannas favored by lions or the diverse habitats of leopards. This ecological specialization could be indicative of speciation. The morosi reportedly lacks the mane typical of male lions. This aligns with other Panthera species, such as leopards, which do not develop manes. It could suggest an evolutionary divergence or convergence, possible evolutionary pathways for a unique Panthera species. The morosi could be a relict population of a now extinct Panthera species, surviving in isolated montane environments. Its unique traits might represent evolutionary adaptations that allowed it to persist while other populations vanished. The morosi may have evolved independently from a common Panthera ancestor, developing traits that resemble both lions and leopards due to shared evolutionary pressures. It's possible that the morosi diverged from lions long ago, evolving in isolation into a separate species. Genetic drift and adaptation to a montane habitat could explain its distinct characteristics. The morosi might have descended from an unknown Panthera ancestor that predates the divergence of lions, leopards, and other modern species. This would make it a fascinating addition to the Panthera tree. What is the morosi? The morosi's classification remains unresolved because of insufficient evidence, including genetic data, fossil records, or verified sightings. Until more scientific research is conducted, it is best described as an enigmatic member of the Panthera genus, with features that challenge the boundaries of existing classifications. Further studies, including DNA analysis of alleged morosi skins and field research in its reported habitats, are essential to determine whether it is a lion subspecies, a hybrid, or a new and unique species. Does the morosi still exist today? While there have been sightings reported primarily in parts of Africa and possibly in mountainous regions, particularly in East Africa, there is no scientific confirmation that the morosi still exists today as a distinct species. Most of the information about the morosi comes from anecdotal reports, cryptozoological studies, and a few physical specimens, such as a skin, but these findings have not been fully verified by mainstream science. What are the chances it still exists? The chances of the morosi still existing depend on several factors. Habitat suitability. The morosi is believed to have been adapted to montane, mountainous habitats, which are still present in various regions across Africa. If such habitats support a small elusive population, it could remain relatively hidden from mainstream science. Rarity of sightings. Reports of sightings are infrequent and often unverified. Some cryptozoologists suggest that the morosi, if it exists, could be a very rare or elusive creature, possibly even nocturnal or solitary, making sightings more challenging. However, the rarity of sightings makes it difficult to assess the likelihood of its continued existence. Evidence for the morosi's existence. The most compelling evidence for the morosi comes from a skin that was reported to have been found. This skin was said to belong to a large spotted cat, and it was initially thought to belong to a juvenile lion or a rare lion subspecies. However, no further specimens have been conclusively linked to the morosi, and the original skin's authenticity and origins remain debated. There have been sporadic reports of sightings of large spotted cats, with features resembling those of a lion and a leopard. These reports often come from regions such as the mountains of East Africa, including Kenya and Tanzania, but they are typically unverified by scientific research. Cryptozoologists continue to document these sightings, though they remain largely inconclusive. Belgian cryptozoologist Dr. Bernard Hovelmans proposed the existence of the Marozi in the 1950s, naming it Panthera leo maculatus. However, Hovelmans' findings were largely based on reports from local hunters, explorers, and settlers, which, while fascinating, cannot be considered definitive proof. Occasionally, photographs or videos surface showing what appear to be lions with spots or unusual markings. While these could be cases of mistaken identity or genetic mutations, some cryptozoologists argue that they could be evidence of the Marozi. However, none of these photos have been definitively proven to depict a Marozi, and many can be explained by other factors like juvenile lions, hybridization. One of the major gaps in confirming the existence of the Marozi is the absence of genetic evidence. No DNA samples have been collected or analyzed to definitively establish a genetic link between reported sightings and any known Panthera species. Without such evidence, it's difficult to determine if the Marozi is a unique species, a rare variation of lions, or simply a figment of myth and speculation. The likelihood of discovering the Marozi or confirming its existence depends on several factors. More field research. To confirm the existence of the Marozi, more comprehensive field studies are needed. This would involve long-term surveillance, tracking, and genetic testing of potential specimens. Genetic analysis. If a specimen, such as a skin, fur, or even scat, were found, genetic testing could help determine whether it belongs to a new species, a subspecies of lion, or a hybrid. This could provide the scientific evidence necessary to determine its true identity. Habitat exploration. The regions where the Marozi has been reported are often remote and not fully explored. There's a possibility that the creature, if it exists, is highly elusive and confined to areas that are difficult to access. Does the Marozi still exist? While there is no definitive evidence that the Marozi still exists today, it is certainly a possibility. The occasional sightings of spotted lions, the historical accounts, and the existence of an alleged specimen suggest that the creature might have once roamed and possibly still could in remote areas. However, without genetic verification or more concrete evidence, the morosi remains a cryptid, an animal whose existence is plausible but unproven. The chances of its survival are low, but not impossible, especially if it is a small, rare, and elusive population that has remained hidden from the modern world. Where could the Marozi still be found? Aberdare Mountains, Kenya. This region has been the most consistent location associated with Marozi sightings. The rugged and forested terrain makes it a potential habitat for elusive animals. Other montane areas in East Africa, regions like the Ethiopian highlands or parts of Uganda and Tanzania, with similar ecological conditions, might also harbour such a population if it exists. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the mystery of the Marozi. Whether it's a unique lion subspecies, a hybrid, or something entirely different, the Marozi challenges what we know about big cats and their evolution. While there's no concrete evidence yet, the stories, sightings, and that intriguing pair of skins keep the mystery alive. Could the Marozi still roam the mountains today? Or is it just a fascinating piece of natural history? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on our explorations of the natural world and rewilding. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.